It is Saturday, September 20th, and some big news coming out of the Golden State. The state of California passing in both their Assembly and the Senate the most censorious bill ever. I mean, you have to see this to believe it. The punishments, the fines that come with breaking this new California law, you won't believe it. Also, President Trump striking his third Venezuelan drug boat with kinetic force, and Secret Service ramping up protection for Charlie Kirk's funeral and memorial service. We'll show you all of it.
Unmarked cars, people en masse, people quite literally disappearing, no due process, no rights in a democracy where we have rights. Immigrants have rights, and we have the right to stand up and push back, and that's what we're doing here today. This is a disgrace. This is an outrage, what we have allowed to happen in this country. And I could not be more proud of this legislature, the legislative authors, to the community demanding more from all of us at this moment to push back.
So with everything happening over the last 2 weeks, everything around freedom of speech, Charlie Kirk being killed over his speech, over debating in public, a left-wing madman targeting Charlie over hate speech, quote unquote. That was the guy's motive, right? Hate speech. Then ABC News canceling Jimmy Kimmel, and the entire conversation somehow magically shifting to Trump destroying the First Amendment. Well, in the middle of all of this, something else happened around free speech, something nobody seems to be talking about happening in the background while none of us are paying attention. The bluest state in the country, California, just passed the most censorious bill ever to be introduced in this country, SB 771, passing the Assembly on September 10th, 10 days ago. Then on September 16th, passing the Senate, completely under our noses, which means right now, all that stands between complete statewide government censorship is Gavin Newsom's signature. Now, am I exaggerating about how bad this bill is? No, I am not. Here is the actual bill. You can pull this up yourself on the state's website. The bill's called SB 771. It's called Personal Rights Liability Social Media Platforms. In Section 2, Title 23 of the bill, it defines the penalties for breaking this new California law. If you post something on social media anywhere online that the state of California deems to be hateful, there's a penalty for that reckless violation, a civil penalty of up to $500,000. For an intentional, knowing, or willful violation, a civil penalty of up to $1 million. That is the definition of the state controlling speech, folks, not what Trump just did. We don't like what the FCC chairman happened to say on Benny Johnson's show, but there's a huge difference between that and real government censorship. And what type of speech is California trying to police here? Well, let's read from the bill. It says, this bill protects against online harassment, particularly when directed at historically marginalized groups. Which means what? If you were to, point out who the Kavanaugh assassin is, which we all just learned about this morning in this new court filing, if you were to say who that person is, would you be fined $500,000? Pretty frightening. All of this happening in the midst of the media and Democrats, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris making hay out of Trump trying to attack the First Amendment. Meanwhile, the state of California is actively passing UK-style laws that will fine you for saying the wrong thing. Pretty wild. And this bill is completely done, folks. It's passed in the House. It's passed in the Senate. All that's left is Gavin Newsom signing it into law. Meanwhile, yesterday, reporting out of Sacramento, California, that a left-wing Antifa member targeted and opened fire on an ABC affiliate broadcaster in retaliation, allegedly, for Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. Watch this.
A 64-year-old man named Hannibal Hernandez Santana has been arrested as the suspect in the shooting that led to an investigation here at ABC 10 in Sacramento along Broadway. And as the sun has risen this morning, you can see for yourself plywood over one of the windows in the lobby there. Now, earlier in the day on Friday, police were called here in response to shots fired from outside the ABC 10's building. No one was injured despite the building being occupied at the time. 3 bullet holes were seen in the window on the building's lobby, and that's when the investigation began. Later the same day, KCRA3 saw police in the River Park neighborhood, including SWAT teams. A witness at the scene reported seeing a man tackled and then taken into custody. Sacramento police thanked the FBI for providing resources in its investigation and have asked anyone with further information to contact their department.
Again, making it clear that the political violence is coming from one side. You didn't see any violent political attacks when Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox. People were upset, they voiced their disagreements, but shooting a studio is insane. In another story, the nation preparing for the massively enormous Charlie Kirk funeral scheduled to take place at the State Farm Stadium in Arizona this weekend tomorrow. President Trump, J.D. Vance, and numerous other high-profile conservatives and Democrats scheduled to appear, along with up to 100,000 members of the public expected to attend this tribute to Kirk's life on Sunday. Meanwhile, U.S. Secret Service facing one of its most difficult tests yet in securing this massive venue with the who's who of Republican figures attending, including the president, the vice president, Secret Service racing to secure this venue after this morning an armed man impersonating law enforcement was arrested at this site, in this venue. What was this man doing? Why was he impersonating police, and why was he armed? Secret Service announcing they arrested Joshua Runkles, 42, who told them that he was a member of law enforcement and that he was armed. Secret Service not buying it, checking and confirming that he wasn't a member of law enforcement, wasn't authorized to be in there, and they found multiple weapons on him. Watch this.
Charlie Kirk will be held tomorrow in Glendale, Arizona, and the public tribute is receiving the highest security designation from federal officials.
Matt Finn joining us now from Glendale and has more on the service preparations. Hey, Matt.
Good morning, Griff. At this time tomorrow, we expect tens of thousands of people to begin making their way onto the property here. Of course, they're going to be greeted by intense federal and local security sweeping the place, not only for the president, but a long list of VIPs. And ahead of the ceremony tomorrow morning, the Secret Service says a suspicious man with a gun and a knife was taken into custody Friday after he was found inside State Farm Stadium, according to the Washington Post. The Secret Service says the unidentified man was exhibiting suspicious behavior inside the stadium when agents approached him. The report says the man claimed to be law enforcement but showed fake credentials. He's in custody, and we're going to keep you updated on this report.
Secret Service, the FBI, and the Arizona Department of Public Safety are all jointly investigating this man's arrest, and they want to learn quickly before tomorrow, why was he there? What was he doing? Why was he in this stadium less than 24 hours before this massive event? Let me know if you think it's a good idea to have the entire Republican bench attending this. Being in the same place like this, will Secret Service be able to successfully secure this site? I hope so.
And tomorrow's memorial for Charlie Kirk here in Glendale, Arizona at State Farm Stadium, home to the Arizona Cardinals, has been designated a Tier 1 level event, equivalent to a Super Bowl. DHS telling Fox News this designation is reserved for events of the highest national significance and enables the federal government to provide the full range of law enforcement and security resources necessary to support local officials in ensuring a safe and successful event. Now, last night at the campus where Charlie was assassinated, there was a vigil for unity at Utah Valley University. And here's UFC CEO Dana White calling for unity on Fox.
And all I'm looking for, over the rest of this year and into next year is some unity, coming back together as a country and stop all the infighting and the finger pointing and, just some normalcy again. Let this country get back to normal.
So State Farm Stadium behind me has fixed seating for 63,000 people. It can expand beyond that. You know, I personally heard from people all over the country who say they want to make their way here tomorrow before the memorial. Will be on the ground, and we'll keep you guys updated.
Yesterday in the House of Representatives, in a vote that exposed the dark underbelly of the current Democrat Party, the House passing a resolution honoring Charlie Kirk and rejecting the political violence happening in this country. The passage of the resolution, however, wasn't unanimous. You'd think it would be. There was, for some crazy reason, substantial Democrat opposition. 58 Democrats voting against this non-binding resolution. Realize this wasn't a law. This wasn't calling out one side or the other. This was a simple resolution to show that all members of Congress oppose political violence. And still 58 Democrats refused to vote yes. All 215 Republicans voting yes, along with 95 Democrats. So who and why would any member of Congress choose to not vote yes? Well, here's AOC explaining why. Watch.
The majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today. We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake. Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant, and accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans, far from the working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution.
AOC deciding it's a good idea to ridicule Charlie Kirk only 9 days after he was executed in cold blood, claiming this resolution brings great pain to millions of Americans. Really, condemning political violence brings great pain to millions of Americans? Well, maybe they're not good Americans then. Likewise, Democrats in Congress also objecting to a prayer being said out loud the day after Charlie was killed. This was 1 day after he was killed, folks. Watch.
What purpose does the gentlelady from Colorado rise? Let's, wait a minute. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. Shh. The House will be in order. Shh. The House will be in order. We will join prayer right after this, okay?
This type of behavior used to be condemned in Congress. It's now infected the majority of elected Democrats. Can it be reversed? I don't know. Let me know what you think. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.